You can say good things about yourself without being that jerk.
You have to nail your worth. Otherwise, you're undermining yourself.
Uncomfortable as it might be, you have a responsibility to yourself and to your team to talk about that, to make sure people are aware of the amazing things that are being done.
Results don't speak for themselves. Data doesn't speak for themselves. Charts don't speak for you. You have to have these conversations out there. That's the difference maker at a leadership level. Entry music. Da, 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 da. It's the Bob and Josh Show.
Picture this. You're in an interview, and as always, the first question is, tell me a little bit about yourself. And everybody generally locks up. Why is it that talking about yourself, especially in a positive manner, causes everybody to just stumble and fumble? I know I'm there. As we were prepping for this episode, Bob talked about how much he loves to talk about himself, which is not true. But this is one of those things that I really believe for you to achieve your career goals, whatever they may be, you have to get comfortable, number one, and then good at talking about yourself, the things you've done, the role you can play within an organization, because that's always the first question. When you're thinking about hiring somebody, you're thinking about how's this person going to help us? So you need to be ready to answer that question. And most importantly, coming at it today, I want everybody to at least find a way to be a little bit more comfortable. I'm not saying we have a magic roadmap, how these 10 steps are going to help you consistently, positively talk about yourself. We don't have that. We don't have those answers. We just want to put this on the table and get everybody thinking about how you can get a little bit better. So Bob, I know you're excited about this topic because I know you love this. This is your favorite thing. So I'm going to toss it to you to get your initial reactions on the topic.
Well, Mr. Smirky Pants, that this is a kryptonite issue for me. It's one of my weaknesses. And what's tied with it is value. You've sort of beaten me up over the years, rightfully so, about undervaluing myself. Mm-hmm. And I think to me, it's one side of, two sides of the same coin. It's talking about yourself. I don't know why it's a weakness of mine. I think one of the driving, I don't know if you want to go into this, like what are some of the causes, but for me, I just am uncomfortable being braggadocious. Like our fair president, I know we don't want to be political here, but our fair president, Mr. Trump, on occasion has said, well, I don't want to appear braggadocious. And then for the next 30 minutes, all he does is brag about himself, right? And he makes it about him. And that's just an extreme example. And everyone, whether you're blue or red, he really is not a humble man. He's a leader who's really sort of advocating for himself first. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, well, let me jump in. In these instances, people are actually just asking about you, and it's so weird how we as humans, and to me, Bob, I believe falls into a bucket with most people out there. I think a lot of people feel the same way of if you say anything positive about yourself, it's like you're bragging, when in reality you're not. So that's what my goal for the episode is that at least everybody feels comfortable and confident saying positive things about themselves and not feeling like they're being a jerk or braggadocious or whatever label you want to put on it.
No. Let me be clear though.
Okay. All right.
I do. I mean, raise your hand, Metacasters, if you've encountered a braggadocious ass with ego, and I will raise my hand professionally. I'm talking about not privately, not in the government. If you've encountered those folks, raise your hand if they've gotten promoted, if they braggadocio their way forward, right? And people fell into the braggadocious hole. And sort of went down with them, and everyone raises their hand. And so from my point of view, and I'm extreme, and I'm I'm a work in progress, but I don't want to be that, right? I don't want to be one of those. And there's a fair number of those around. I think there. I don't know what the percent. I very often, if you follow the Metacast, I have the percentages I pull out of my ears and stuff. I don't know what the percentages are. I do know that there's a fair number of those folks out there, and many of them aren't even self-aware, so they feel like they're humble, so then they're always working to get even worse or something. So one of my trigger, I don't want to be like them, so I equate it as like, I don't want to be that way, so then I lean the other way too much. uh, Now I'm learning that just because I'm promoting myself or talking about myself, how I do it can be very different from how those do. And my intentions, there's something about your intentions too.
Right.
My intentions are to just state facts, and usually when I'm talking about that, I weave in teams. I don't just talk about me. And Josh does this all the time. I mean, all the in the last look at the last Metcast as an example. We're talking about like weaving ourselves into dynamics. So it's us, it's I and we, and weaving those things together. And you don't hear that as often or at all with those folks. But it is a problem because I undersell myself. Josh has been coaching me. Believe it or not, Metacasters, I do need a fair amount of coaching, and he coaches me without like directly coach. He doesn't ask permission, which is probably a good thing. He just sort of he nibbles at me all the time, just sort of nigs at me, and he chips away at Bob, and he does make progress. Whereas I've leaned so far, and this is a lesson for all of you. You have to nail your worth. Otherwise, you're undermining yourself. And that's a discovery I've made along the way. I'm like, no, I've earned some level of experience and gravitas and privilege. And I'm like worried about going over the top with that.
Yeah.
But if you go too far under, you're undermining it, and you're not actually validating that for other people to leverage. I've gone into presentations. I think someone listened to me in a presentation. It's like, stop that self-deprecation,
Right.
right? Stop that self-deprecation. You're Bob Galen, and these people came to see Bob Galen, and they came to learn from Bob Galen, and you're up there, not, but I'm like, and I do self-deprecating humor a little bit, but
Yeah.
I was overdoing it a little bit. I was undermining myself.
Yeah. It's really hard to expect someone to value you if you can't value yourself. And it is interesting because everything Bob said about not wanting to be that person, I feel deeply as well. I understand that everybody knows that jerk that brags about themselves and somehow has bragged themselves into a position. You're like, that person does not belong there, but they talk themselves into it. And you, as a good, well intentioned person, don't want to be that. And I understand that, but that doesn't mean turn it off. And that's the unfortunate reaction that so many people have, is that it is black or white. It's, I don't want to be that, so I'm not going to talk like, I'm not going to talk like that ever. And that has the potential to keep doors closed that you could open if you were able and willing to put yourself out there and talk about the good things you've done, the good things your teams have done, how you've helped. I'm not saying you have to go and say, and one of the things I try and make sure that I don't do is say I or me. It's always we did this, or I was a part of a team that did. Just, and then just state the facts, because I guarantee everybody listening to or watching this right now has been a part of a team that has done amazing things. And I'm sure you've played huge, massive roles in making that happen. So when the time comes, when the opportunity comes, take that deep breath and talk about the role you played in that team and the things you and your teammates accomplished, the amazing things, how the company grew, how your team performed, how the how the world changed because of the things you
Right.
built, right? Be comfortable doing that, and know you can say good things about yourself without being that jerk. And I'm not saying you're going to crush
Independent.
it every time, but
Yeah.
maybe you'll fumble your words, but give it a shot.
mean, I want to amplify what Josh said, Benecasters. There's this weaving that has to be done. So if there's too much I, then you are braggadocious. If it's all I, and that is actually going to be a turnoff for many interviews. Is it's just particularly leadership. I mean, the context here is leadership, everyone, right? Leadership. So I driven leaders. There may be some cultures that want that, but it's going to turn off a lot. And then there's we. A lot of agile coaches are all we. And you can't even get them to talk about the role that they play, right? There's this finding your happy middle in your conversations. And what I'm going to say, I'm going to tease out what Josh was saying, in your storytelling. You need to weave together these I plus we stories and to be able to articulate it so that the balance is coming through. Another thing, Josh, just shifting gears, is in my defense, Bucko, I'm a I'm an introvert. I'm a strong introvert. And I think I'm going to generalize here, Metacasters. Bear with me. I know it's not true, but think about it. Don't overreact. But I think extroverts have a much easier time talking about themselves. And a lot of those asses we were talking about are extroverts. And introverts, and I've coached a lot of introverts. I'm introverted. We're uncomfortable talking about ourselves. Part of me actually feels slimy. I feel like a snake oil salesman if I'm talking about myself too much. I feel a little greasy. And I've gotten comfortable with that, with the greasiness. And then I just degrease myself afterwards. But I do think there's a natural understanding your tendency. Are you an extrovert or an introvert or an omni? I don't know what the middle is, an omnivert. I don't know. But are you in the middle? That's a part of it. And I now in tech, there's a lot of introverts in tech.
Right.
So I think in technical roles, this is a real problem, and that's a baseline reason behind it.
Listen, okay, I'm an introvert as well. I
You're an
without a
omnivert.
doubt.
I don't know if that's even a word.
My roles and aspirations force me to do things that I'm uncomfortable with.
Yeah,
And talking
me
about
too.
myself is one of those things. And, the reason this came to mind was I I I just joined a company, and I had to, in an all hands, they said, "Hey, we want you to talk about yourself." So introduce yourself to the whole company, say things about what you've done. And I'm like, man, how do I thread this needle? How do
Yeah,
I, how do I talk about myself and have people say, "Oh man, I'm really excited about this guy. He's done some really cool things and I'm excited about what he can bring to us." How do I do that without sounding like an ass, like Bob said, but also have them say, "Damn, that guy's a part of our team? That's freaking awesome." Because it's true. And I've got experience that I can bring to that company. And it took me a while to figure that out. And I've had practice over the years of doing that. But that's a thing. And I thought about all of our listeners and all of our viewers that are looking to gain those new jobs or have just started new jobs or are in a hiring process, and they're having to, and I'm going to say the word, but it's not really that. You have to sell yourself, but you're not
yeah,
selling yourself. You're just stating the facts. But it feels just like Bob said. Bob talked about how it feels slimy when he talks about himself, when he says the facts, when he says the things he's done, when he talks about the books that he's written, the hundreds of podcasts that he's been a part of, the dozens to hundreds of conference talks that he's given,
stop,
right? Like,
stop.
look, like he can't even take it right now. But that's a list of things that not a lot of people walking this earth can say they've done.
Yeah,
And and I know it makes Bob uncomfortable. I know it does. But that's part of Bob, and that's who he is. And part of and him feeling like that makes him who he is. But there's times
when I have
when
to.
you have to put that on a shelf and say like, "Oh, this sucks. I don't like it. It's not what I want to do. I'm going to feel," as Bob said, "I'm going to feel a little bit slimy," but you're just saying the facts and you make it we focused and we centered. And so as I talked through that, as I introduced myself to a brand new company and talked about the things that I have done, the teams I've been a part of, and how excited I was to join the team and how impressed I was with the team that I was joining, right? All of those were just plain facts. And so when you're thinking about that, just try and frame it in your head of you are simply being a truth teller and you're just stating the facts and you're phrasing it as we. And when you do that, when you think of it like that, maybe you'll feel a little bit less slimy, as Bob
Yeah.
said. But that really is a thing that I thought about. Man, everybody out there, so many people that listen to this or watch this, I know they feel the same way I do. And I know they're like, ooh, gosh, that's the least favorite question that they have. And, think about having to write a bio about yourself. Those are some of the hardest words you ever have to type, but it's your life and you're just putting your life in words. And the challenge of doing things like that is just always interesting. So that's why I wanted it to be a topic for discussion today.
I mean, there's this notion of Metacasters, and I believed it historically, and I still believe it. But I've modified how it affects my behavior. Is the results speak for themselves, and results do speak for themselves, but not everyone is paying attention.
Right.
So we have to market ourselves. It's a sales thing, or think of it as a marketing thing. Nowadays, for the last 10 years or so, I've been thoughtful about branding and creating my personal brand. All of these things I'm saying are the same thing. And then if you're talking about yourself, you're just communicating your personal brand. What makes you who you are? What are the differences you bring to the table? But you have to do that. As a leader, you don't just have to do it. And this is something I think Josh, sort of, had got my attention with. If you're shy about talking about yourself, it's not just impacting you, it's impacting your team. It's impacting the presence you have in the organization. It's impacting the influence you have, not just you for your team. If I'm a vice president of the development group, right? If I'm shy about talking about me, I'm shy about talking about the team very often, right? Or if I'm not getting folks' attention to say Bob is competent, oh my gosh, he's really nailing it. If I'm not talking about the successes in the team, if I'm not talking about the accomplishments we have, if I'm not talking about the goals we're achieving, again, you don't want to cross that. It's a balancing act, but it's not just you. So if you're uncomfortable, do it. Then do it for your team and you. Results don't speak for themselves. Data doesn't speak for themselves. Charts don't speak for you. You have to have these conversations out there. That's the difference maker at a leadership level organizationally. It's not the JIRA charts or the PowerPoint presentations or the quarterly reviews. Those are all nice. But behind the scenes, it's the stories. It's the perception people have of you and your team that they gain. It's in the interview process. Um, and that's what we're talking about. We're trying to help people in the interview process, but it's also when you enter like Josh right now is entering a new organization. So he did a good job because they hired him. But now he's in phase two, which is he's got to make another good impression. That was just the interview. He's got to grab hold of this organization right now as part he's in that honeymoon phase. And he can maximize that or he can minimize that and have people celebrating his arrival or scratching their heads, did we make a mistake? And it's not, and it's how he emanates that. It's not he's the same Josh, right? He's got those skills. It's just is he emanating those skills outward in the organization? And then 2 years from now or 3 years from now, the job doesn't go away. It's the same, it's just different. He'll have to reframe, or the organizational dynamic, the business climate will change. Something will change. Something always changes on a weekly basis. So we have to be adaptive with this. So I think the net there was, if it's not for you, then do it for your team. Do it for someone. Do it for your children. Do it for your grandchildren. Do it for your dog. I don't care, but do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Find some motivation that inspires you that you're doing it for some and yourself. right? Have that self-worth, have that sort of self-awareness to do it for you too.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point of finding your why, what it is that's going to drive you to do the uncomfortable thing. And for so many of us, talking about yourself is very uncomfortable. Talking about yourself positively is very uncomfortable because we've all seen that person. And the difference is exactly what Bob talked about, results. So the results matter. If you talk about things without the results, then you become that person that's
Yep.
bragging and is talking about things they've done, but they've never actually really done it or they can't back it up. So it's results are a huge part of it. That's the foundation, but then they don't speak for themselves, which is true. We all want them to be true. And maybe they'll whisper, maybe they'll talk a little bit, but they need to be talked about. They need to have lights shown upon them, shined upon them, whatever the right word is there. And that's part of the leadership job is to make sure that, hey, we know we're doing good things and we need to make sure the rest of the organization knows we're doing good things because they are usually consumers of the things that we build, the value that we ship, what we send to our customers, how we work with our customers. So making sure that they're aware of all the good things that's happened. I have worked at companies where the rest of the organization had no clue about the amazing things that teams were building. And it was just a communication issue. It was simple of getting them to talk regularly about things that we've done, things that we have shipped, things that are coming. The results were there, but their own teammates didn't know. It was an astounding thing and a surprisingly simple and easy fix that changed a lot for the positive. One of the things that I have struggled with over the years as a leader is making sure people knew it was the team. And I am a team first guy, and I fight and make sure that it's never Josh. It's never me. It's never Josh's team. It's Josh is leading the organization, but it's the team doing the work. So just make sure you keep that framing and that certainly helps.
I'm going to disagree with Josh a little bit. Um, yes, I'm going to say yes and. Uh, Josh is a hell of a leader. If he overleans into the team,
Yeah, I
then
see.
then people are going to be like, well, why do I need Josh? Right? If he's got this kick-ass team, I don't need him. I mean, fire him. I can hire 3 team members. Wait, let me reframe. I can hire 15 team members for what I'm paying Josh.
Only that were true.
Right? And so I mean, it's a no-brainer. So it's the team, yes, but it's the combination. It's Josh plus team. That's the communication. Don't lead one way. See, that's the middle ground, Metacasters. So Capital One. So let me get up on a pedestal. I'm
Okay,
an
here we go.
agile guy. I'm an agile guy, and I've been in agile for 20 plus years since the 90s, late 90s. So I have a lot of runway, a lot of experience. Done. Okay. Uh, our biggest, I'm going to say, our number one problem. We are now in an agile death march. We are in an agile spiral. Our biggest problem as agilists, number one problem that we screwed up on was communicating our value. It was the number one thing. Number one thing. And when I say agilists, it's agile scrum masters, agile coaches, agile leaders. And the key was we said, oh, we're servant this, we're servant leaders. So it can't be about us. It has to be always about the teams. And and then we didn't really communicate well about the teams because we wanted to be humble. Oh my gosh, we're leading from behind. We're leading from the sidelines. We don't want to jump on the field. We're not supposed to own the outcomes. So there was this void of who's getting shit done and a lack of clarity. And stuff was getting done. We had a marketable, agile results were highly marketable in most cases. Yes, there were failures, safe. Yes, there were failures, but there were results out there. We didn't do a great job of doing it. So Capital One fired what 1,600, 1,800 Agilists because no one was marketing the result. Oh, that one guy was marketing the results at the top, and he wasn't doing a good job of it, and he was being meek about that. So that's the Achilles heel of that's causing all of these problems and the disasters with Agile that we may never recover from. And it wasn't an Agile thing. It was a marketing thing. It was a humility thing. So I'm really jumping on Josh. It's about the middle ground. I have rock star teams and I'm a rock star leader. If I was gone, the teams would not be rock stars. They'd be good, right? Right. And so it's about both of us. And if the teams were gone, right, I wouldn't be as effective. And I hire good teams and I build good teams. So there's a partnership there in it. And you have to communicate that. And
Yeah.
you have to communicate that balance. And it's outcomes, but it's the synergy between the two. And you have to nail that. Historically, I've sort of been good at that. And it's not at every company. Not in every company, but at some companies, I've been really good at that. The relationship side really helped me, and storytelling. I was telling stories all the time, hallways, this, that. I felt like my number one job was telling the stories about the synergy and weaving the two together. Josh, I sort of, it wasn't a big deal,
I
but you
get
went
it.
a
I
little
get it.
meek on me there,
Yeah.
and
No,
I
you
wanted to
got you.
jump on you.
I appreciate that. And in you talking through that, it brought something to light. Think about your favorite sports team or think about one of the most dominant sports teams in whatever sport you care about. I'll use college football. That's the one that I know the best. Nick Saban. Nick Saban, one of the greatest coaches ever at Alabama, always had top 10 recruiting classes, always got the best players. They won title after title after title. Nick Saban retires. They still get the best players in the country year after year after year. They're not the same because that leader is not the same. So similar to Bob's point about they're still going to be good. Alabama's still really good, but they're not the same dominant team because that world-class leader they had that lifted everybody else up, that accelerated everybody potentially beyond what they even thought that they could do, has gone. They're still a
Yeah,
great team. They're
yeah,
still
exactly.
dangerous. They're still going to beat just about anybody, but they're not the same. Why? Because their world-class leader left and they're trying to find the next person to step in and do that. That is true across every sport I've ever seen where there's good players, there's good coaches, then there's great players and there's great coaches, and the teams that win consistently have great coaches and great players. And so you are that same thing. Make sure
Exactly.
other people know about it. As uncomfortable as it might be, you have a responsibility to yourself and to your team to talk about that, to make sure people are aware of the amazing things that are being done.
One more example. In a football example, University of Cincinnati, Scott Satterfield.
Don't start with me. don't you dare. Don't you. We were doing so good. You don't need to make me angry here.
Metacasters, I just poked
Uh,
the bear
uh,
with a coaching reference. Just
yeah,
that was just a private little poke from me to Josh.
that hurt. Yeah.
I know,
Okay.
I know. I
All
just
right.
wanted
Let's
to see your
wrap this
reaction.
up here. I want to.
We need to wrap. Can you wrap
Yeah.
it?
Me? What? No. You are the normal like mic dropper on this stuff.
I
You're
don't
the
know if
fork
it's a mic
sticker.
drop. It's an important. I mean, Josh pokes me, and it is a weakness of mine. But I've also, I think, turned it into a strength. So, for example, Chris Laney is a friend of mine at Zenergy. He's a CEO of Zenergy, and I work for them occasionally. And I go into a lot of agile. I go into all their agile sales calls, and I'll just interact. I'll be Bob, whatever that means. Usually, part of that is I talk too much, but I'm curious, I'm passionate, etc. And I come out of it feeling slimy, and I'm like, oh, I suck at sales. And Chris is the consummate sales guy. Chris is a sales guy. Chris knows how to sell, and I don't. But he always inevitably says, Bob, you may not, you're a good sales guy. You may be uncomfortable with it, but you're honest, you're genuine, you tell stories, you step in. And he says, that's why you get invited. You're a sales guy. You're not me, but you're yourself. And those attributes sell you. So that's what I want to leave everyone with. You're a sales guy with not selling yourself. You're an unseller. So, and you're unselling yourself. So we're always in leadership positions. We are the front, the face, like Nick Saban. We're the face of the franchise. We're the face of the organization. So you have a choice of what are we going to do? And if you're uncomfortable or if you have light skills in this area, you have to do it. When you're out of work, you have to step into it. When you're in work, you have to step into it. When you're in public, you have to step into it and just get better over time. But realize that if you just have these if you're doing the things we're doing, if you're making a difference, you have powerful stories to tell. So tell them. Don't cheat other people. Don't cheat yourself. Don't cheat your teams. Tell your stories.
Nicely done, sir.
So from beautiful downtown Cary, North Carolina,
and beautiful downtown Fuquay Arena, North Carolina,
I'm Bob, meek-minded Galen.
I'm Josh. I'm going to say only good things about myself, Anderson.
Bake
And bake.
Take care, y'all.